Have you ever wondered what it truly takes to reach the top? To achieve unimaginable wealth, success, and power? What if I told you that the price of getting everything you've ever wanted might be far more than you could ever imagine? Your soul, your body, and your very identity could be at stake. This is the chilling confession of a woman who reached the pinnacle of success, only to realize that the world she had entered came with a dark and terrifying cost. It's a story about the dangerous pursuit of ambition, the lies of false prophets, and the spiritual forces that controlled her every move. Her journey was one of fame and fortune, but behind the scenes, it was a descent into a world of darkness and addiction, a world where the price of success was her very. I never imagined I would be telling a story like this to anyone. There's a part of me that wishes I could turn back time, that I could undo everything, erase the choices I made, the steps I took. But I can't. All I can do now is share what I've lived through, in the hope that maybe someone will hear me and avoid the same path. I was once a dreamer like so many others. I had a vision for my life, a picture of who I wanted to be. But dreams don't always come true, especially when you're working within the boundaries of what seems possible. I started my career in the business world, working long hours, facing rejection, and constantly wondering if I was good enough. I watched others rise, those who seemed to have it all. The connections, the power, the money. I watched them from the sidelines, knowing I too had the potential. But it didn't seem like it was ever going to happen for me. I remember lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, asking myself if I was missing something in life that could help me reach the top. I was willing to sacrifice everything for success, but success, it seemed, wasn't in the cards for me. The truth is, I had no idea how much my desperation for a breakthrough would shape the choices I would make. 4 years, I toiled away in jobs that were supposed to lead somewhere, but they didn't. I was stuck. The more I worked, the more I realized that all the effort, all the talent, all the years I put in, none of it mattered if you didn't have the right connections, the right influence. It was around this time that I first heard about the man who was a prophet. He was famous in certain circles. A man who, I was told, could see beyond the physical world. Someone full of spiritual guidance that could transform lives. People talked about him, about his powers, his ability to change destinies, to make the impossible happen. He had a following, and they all spoke of him in reverent tones. You see, in my initial stages of life, I didn't believe in these things. Spirits, rituals, the supernatural. I was a businesswoman. I believed in hard work and strategy. But I was desperate, and the idea of a shortcut, a way to finally reach the success I had dreamed of, was tempting. So one day I went to see him. The first time I laid eyes on him, I felt a strange sense of calm. He was older, with a serene expression, as though he knew something I didn't. He spoke of the universe, of spiritual laws, and of the energies that flow through everything. He promised that through his guidance, I could unlock the doors of success that had been closed to me for so long. He told me that my desire for wealth and power was not just ambition. It was a calling. He said the universe had something special planned for me, but in order to access it, I needed to tap into hidden forces. Forces that could only be accessed through ritual. First, I was skeptical. But as he spoke, I felt something stir within me, something I hadn't felt before. An awakening. He told me the ritual would be simple at first, that it would guide me into the right mindset to accept the opportunities the universe had for me. He said I had to trust him, that I had to trust the process. And against my better judgment, I did. The first ritual was almost peaceful. It wasn't what I expected. There were no chants, no dark symbols, no foreboding atmosphere. It was just a room, dimly lit, with incense smoke swirling around. He guided me through breathing exercises, and I felt a sense of calm and clarity I hadn't felt in years. The next day, everything seemed to click into place. Ideas flowed, opportunities appeared, and doors opened that had previously been locked. People noticed me. I began to rise in the company, promoted again and again, faster than anyone else. Felt like magic. It felt like I had found the key to everything I had ever wanted. But soon the rituals began to change. They became more intense, more demanding. He told me that the universe's gift didn't come for free. There was a price to pay. Do you have any idea of the price? If I tell you he meant my body, would you believe it? The price was my body, my soul. He told me that the spirits I had awakened would demand certain services in exchange for continued blessings. First I was confused, but he explained it in a way that made sense to me. These spirits, these powers thrived on energy, on connection. I had to give of myself in ways I had never imagined. I had to lay with men to initiate this energy-giving process that would facilitate my continuous wealth. And as hard as it was, I did. I did whatever was asked of me because I thought that was the only way. But what he didn't tell me, what he couldn't tell me, was that with every ritual, with every sacrifice, I was falling deeper into a web I couldn't escape from. Started slowly at first. It was just a feeling, an overwhelming urge to be with a man, a strange pull, a desire that came out of nowhere. It wasn't about love or attraction. It was a demand, a spiritual need. I didn't understand it at first, but it grew stronger with each passing day. The spirits required it. They told me it was necessary for the energy exchange, that it would bring me more success. The more I gave, the more I received. But it wasn't just about the physical act. It was about the power I felt afterward, the sense that I was on top of the world, untouchable. It was intoxicating. But with each encounter, I lost a little more of myself. And when the ritual ended, I would feel empty again, hollow, as though I had given away something sacred. The saddest part of this whole thing is that it never stopped. The cycle continued. I couldn't stop. At first it seemed like a fair exchange. The more I gave, the more I received. Success came easily. So easily, in fact, that I began to believe I was invincible. Every deal I touched turned to gold. Became known, respected. The promotions that once seemed so far out of reach became my reality. I owned everything I had ever dreamed of. The life I had always envied, the life I had desperately wanted, was mine. But as time passed, I began to feel something shift. It was subtle at first, just a feeling that wouldn't leave me, an unyielding emptiness. The spirits' demands grew, and they weren't content anymore with simple rituals or offerings. They wanted more. They wanted control. I thought I could handle it. I believed that I could manage the pull, keep it at bay while I enjoyed the fruits of my labor. But it wasn't that simple. The more I succeeded, the more the spirits demanded. More rituals, more sacrifices, more offerings of myself. And the offerings, they weren't always in the form of things I could give away easily. They were me, my soul, my body. Sometimes it even got to the point where I was doing it with fellow women. I remember the first time it happened. The feeling of urgency was overwhelming. It was as though something inside me had been awakened, a primal, insatiable hunger that demanded to be fed. The spirits whispered to me, their voices insistent, telling me that I needed to fulfill their desires in order to maintain the flow of power I had come to rely on.